Well, I'm Lynn Durham. I was lucky enough to go to Buzz Lab all the way from 4-year-old kindergarten through 9th grade. So the class that left here in 1969 is the first class that went through all 11 grades. And I've spent the past 33 years or more in education myself, and I think that if they had had lab schools throughout the nation, if anybody could afford it, the schools would not have the same problems that they're having now. We had an art teacher, we had a music teacher, we had a PE teacher, separate, that would come in and give our teachers breaks. We had at least 1 or 2 student teachers every semester, I think it was, no, quarter, can't remember. So there's always lots of people in the class to help. Classes of Eastern students would come and watch us and sit in the back of the room. We never knew what they were looking for. So I'd always try to make, I always tried to give them something to watch. A little attention seeking. My father's taught at the university, and almost everybody in the lab school had a parent somehow connected with Eastern. When I went here, did I love it? Does anybody love any elementary school that they went to? No. But I cannot believe all the things that we had. Starting in 4th grade, we got French lessons. You could start with orchestra or band, and it was 4-year-old kindergarten, 5-year-old kindergarten. Those were kind of separate. 1st through 6th, and then junior high, it was called, was 7th, 8th, and 9th. And the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders kind of mingled more together. And I remember I thought it was, at the time, well, it's still unusual, a little bit. Girls had to take industrial arts, and the boys had to take home economics. And I thought that was a great opportunity. You could still take French on through middle school or junior high if you wanted to. It was just a great school, and we had some great teachers. I remember that the teachers had their own little office in the back of our classroom. There were never more than 25 students in a class, and there were 2 classes per grade. So we went through as sets. So I was an A. I was 1A, 2A, 3A. And the other class was 1A, 2A, or 1B, 2B, 3B. And so that's where we didn't get to know each other so much. So there was basically the 25 kids that went through the whole school together, with the exception of course, the people moving in and out. In middle school, junior high, here I go again, we started having dances, and once a year, they'd have a dance for us in the gym, and I still can't stand to hear the song Cherish by, I can't even remember who sang it, because they played that at every single dance I went to and left school. In 9th grade, you got to go to 2 dances. In 9th grade, there was a dance, but they elected a 9th grade king and queen, and I thought for sure I was going to be queen, but no, I didn't make it. But there was a 9th grade dance just for 9th graders. And rumor has it, it's just a rumor, the punch was spiked. Now, I don't know anybody that would have done that. But it was scotch. It was awful. But it was spiked. But that's what I heard. Just a rumor. Another secret that most people don't know about is there was a secret way to get underneath the stage in the auditorium. And you could go from one side of the auditorium to the other side. I can't remember if there was a door on the other side or not. Now, of course, you could just walk behind the curtain like most people did, but some of us knew of this secret spot. And sometimes we'd go there when we didn't want to be where we were supposed to be. I would guess that not very many people know about that. And I guess that not very many people know about the spiked punch either. Because I went to the lab school, and we had so many opportunities. There was summer school that it wasn't for, a punishment or anything like that. It was just an opportunity for additional learning if you wanted to go, and if your parents didn't want babysitters or something. And so you could go to summer school. We went on, I remember one summer we went on a camping trip. It was in middle school, junior high, there we go again. Just, if you can imagine it, it happened. Now, personally, I have a problem with watching Audubon nature shows. But there's a reason for it. Every other month or so, we'd all the whole school would get together in the auditorium, and they would show us a nature film. And sometimes there'd be somebody with an animal there, and it was really neat. And I was talking to some other people I went to school with, and they just loved that. But it was arranged by my father, who was the director of life sciences. And so I got to see the film at school, and then I got to see the people who had dinner at our house after that. And then I got to go that night and either see the same film over again, or I got to see the adult version of the film. So I personally cannot watch that kind of film anymore, but I think a lot of people, it was, a real good exposure for them, because it was like people that had been to Africa and animals that were small enough to look like a pet, but that would rip your arm off, things like that. The way lab school impacted me was that I was able, in 10th grade, sophomore year, whatever you call it, I went to the public high school, and it was okay, but it was boring. So I decided that I didn't want to be a junior, I wanted to be a senior. And so I graduated when I was 16, and I started college when I was 16. And I started teaching high school, if you can believe that, the week that I turned 21. I had students in my class that were 18 and 19. So I would have never been able to advance like that had it not been for the lab school. And just the experience, the exposure to what a good teacher is, how a good teacher works, and how to work with kids. I always said that I didn't have children. I did OPs, and that stood for other people's kids. And I have had the great opportunity to retire, so I kind of went through life fast, but I've got a lot of time left and a lot of things to do, so I'm all set.